Thank you, Mrs. Chair. I would like immediately to say that I support what Mr. Sweeney said, and I would like to continue on the same track, both on bottom-up approach and on pricing. And my starting point is that we have to, when we discuss transition and transformation, we have to accept that there is a political deadlock in the UN negotiations. There's a political deadlock in Copenhagen. It will not be changed in Cancun. It will not be changed in South Africa. So we have to accept the fact that in spite of 20 years of negotiations, there is no global deal in sight. So what do we do without that? How do we handle this situation? I think that we have to do three things. One is what has already been said here. We have to think out of the box, think forward, and try to turn the present paradigm of burden sharing into something more attractive, that is sharing opportunities. The investment that we can see in the future, the investment needed in the energy system, and the extra investment needed for a low-carbon society, they are opportunities, business opportunities, opportunities to create a better society. So that is my first point. Rethink the concept of burden sharing, turn it into sharing opportunities. My second point is about politics and governance. And that is about how do we build the support for what is needed on global level. And here I think that we should think about one person who has already done something of that sort, and that is Jean Monnet. 50 years ago, Jean Monnet designed Europe. He didn't start with 27 countries. He didn't wait until 27 countries were ready. He started with 6 and adding more countries to this. And this is what we can do also in the climate in climate strategy. So we have proposed from my think tank what we call a climate investment community. A climate investment community. EU could start inviting other countries. Even if EU 27 are not ready to do it, we can do it with 9 countries, as that is a provision in the new treaty. So 9 countries can start an European climate investment community. And we could invite other countries in, or we could tell other countries, like in United States, Canada, to build their own communities. And I think that China is already a big community, and no one of these will enter into European. But the idea is to build bottom-up, instead of waiting for 192 countries to come to conclusions and ask the parliaments to ratify that. That will take a long time. So let's start, as Jean Monnet did, building from bottom up and including countries who are ready to go. Then the question is, why should they go into a climate investment community? I think the main point is the following, and we heard it here in the panel. After Copenhagen, McKinsey stated that business is confused. Copenhagen left business confused. There are no clear signals on the future climate regime, and that makes investment risky. So therefore, the advantage of being part of a climate investment community is that there are rules that gives business the direction for future investment. Clear incentives for a change from carbon-intensive investment to low-carbon investment. Now, how do we do that? How do we change the structure? And here I think we should move from the present state of the ETS, which is about reduction of emissions, not thinking about the price. There is only the reduction of emissions. And so start or identify that the only important signal for business is the price of CO2. If the price of CO2 is right, then a lot of investment will come aboard. And look at 2 figures. Remember only 2 figures from what I say now. One is 15 and the other is 40. 15 euros a ton, that is the price of CO2 today. 15 euros a ton. In order to get all technologies needed for the transformation, you have to come up to around 40, at least 40. That will include CCS. Some say that we should go to 80. But let's take McKinsey's 40 as a starting point. They said at least 40 euros a ton, not later than 2020. If we can do that, then that will give a strong signal to business to go in a new direction with investment. So this is the idea. We should focus on one basic principle, and that is that we should have a technology-neutral CO2 price. A technology-neutral CO2 price. That means that no investment, no technology is excluded because it's too expensive. All technologies that we will need should be economically viable. And we should, in that way, squeeze out the old technologies of high carbon technologies. So that is the main idea, to establish a CO2 price strong enough to drive investment and avoid a little bit of what we have today, that we use subsidies, because subsidies means that politicians, I've been a politician, politicians have to make decisions on technology, and it's better that consumers and markets can do that. So we need, I think, subsidies and regulations, but we should put more focus on the pricing, because that is a more automatic way of driving this process. So these are my 3 recommendations. Focus more on sharing opportunities instead of burden sharing. Build from bottom up to a climate investment community, and focus on the pricing and create a technology-neutral CO2 price as a principle for the management of the system and for the incentives to the industry. In that way, we can tackle the 3 things that we need to tackle. One is a climate challenge. The other is energy security. And the third one is the green race. I was in China last week, and they told me what has been said here, that they are going to win the green race. The green race is on technology. Europe is leading, but we are soon passed by the Chinese, and they are determined to do it. We can do a lot of this if we get pricing right and if we build from the bottom up. Thank you.
Thank you.